SQ, this is W9MGT here, come back. SQ, this is W9MGT here, come back. This is at 10:44 and I have something to say. Hello and a happy Friday the 19th today. Why is Friday the 19th important? No idea. Even though last year, on the 18th of January, I did something and I was writing today in my journal about my vision board that I did last year. And of the things that actually have turned out good and that happened. And two things, especially one, the fact that I started doing more movement. You know, I bought a stand-up paddle board. I've been doing yoga and exercises regularly. So that was part of my vision board to sort of get back on track with my own health. And I said also walking outdoors, so not to be scared again after the accident that I had 2 years ago. And the other thing was the university for my PhD. And I remember that on my vision board, I put the two images of the two universities that I've chosen that I've sent applications to. One was Oxford, the other one was Bangor. And even though Oxford was the one that felt more prestigious on paper because I'm a foreigner, I kept on saying to everybody, yeah, but you know, Bangor has the sea. And fortunately, I actually I got through to Bangor and I've started my PhD this week. So that is one thing. This week has been a lot about energy and shamanism, energy as the differential of potential, as in electricity, as in waves, as in sound, as in smell, connection with air, vibration, sense of sort of like harmonic beauty, which is actually something that I'm saying now, but I haven't thought about it before, so I'm going to write it now. Harmonic. Look at me, harmonic beauty, multitasking, harmonic beauty. So this week has been, I listened to somebody saying calm winds and following seas. Calm winds, I think that was like a quote from an NCIS episode. Calm seas and calm winds and following seas. And one of the things that came through today to me was a reinforcing, restating of my connection with energy, with the sea, with the wind, and hence with, I would say, waves. I would say also connection with Neptune or Poseidon, because I like the Greek more than the Romans. The idea of Poseidon and his wife Amphitrite. As also creators of waves, and that to me is the union of wind and water, which both are energetically very close to the color blue and to its frequency. So it's a blues and greens again in my life, blues and greens. And I turned also my living room around, so now I have my sofa where I'm sitting, which is facing east, so I can actually see the sun rising, but that is the quadrant in medicine wheel that is dedicated to air. And I've got my back to west, so I feel embraced and hugged by the element of water. And I'm along this sort of like feminine axis of air and water when we compare that to earthly north and southerly fire, which is considered the masculine axis. So I'm thinking immanence and transcendence, if you think about the two axes. Why does that come up? What's it got to do with my MA? Anyway, that's besides the point. Importance that I've also reconnected is, so we are having Pluto going into Aquarius now, which also means that I've been thinking about lessons that I've learned in this past 15 years and the lessons that I still need to learn and that I haven't fully learned. One of the most important things to me with this connection with the idea of air and water is that I've gained three-dimensionality. A sense of the words that I wrote in my journal are presence, expansion, sense of freedom, expression, breath, but also space and volume. The idea of being fully expressed, being three-dimensional, in understanding that there is a volume and understanding what happens in between this volume. So when I was doing the exercises and yoga the other day in the morning, I thought I still see so much potential in my own body, in whatever happens in between the fibers of my body, that air that is between the fibers. Because that's to me is pure potentiality, and as Deepak Chopra would say, pure potentiality, and there's the space in between, that void, and basically the air that I am. Am I rambling? Maybe not. This week was also about, the idea, I remember that when I was doing ballet and dancing, I always had this idea of actually flying a lot, which means I had this idea of moving my arms as if I was flying. That was just like a movement that I kept on doing, that I find myself doing again, and that I literally haven't done in over 15 years. But then this was Pluto in Capricorn, isn't it? God almighty. Card-wise, I got crow, dragonfly, and white raven, which to me is all about, the truth beyond the illusion and trusting the process. But especially, I've connected very much with the idea of the deep blue. And again, the idea of asking for a sign, asking spirit for help. And some of the cards that came up were very, very clear. I've been using the Alchemy, the Kim Krans Alchemy deck, and also the Dream of the Shaman, if it is called. Sorry, I don't remember actually the exact name. It's the Oracle. And by asking for help, all the connection brought me back to the deep blue, to the sea, to the peacock tail. So those, again, blues and greens. I'm brought back to the blue, which, funny enough, is the whole point of my master's in research. And at the same time this week, I got some sort of like not happy news about my MA thesis marking thing. It will take longer than expected. I need to wait until the end of February at least for the report to be provided, and then the university will still have to meet up as a panel to provide the report to me. So God only knows when I will have the news. So on one side, I've got, this is what I don't understand. If anybody's listening to this, you might actually get me some hints. So I understand if the universe were placing blocks onto my path at the beginning, a block that I can actually see, I don't actually have to move forward in that direction, but not blocks from the universe in things that are supposed to end. Why is the universe not wanting me to end my MA? And maybe it is because I still actually haven't looked at the blues and the greens in depth. So I got out again yesterday my book by William Gass, which is on being blue, Philosophical Inquiry. I've got all the other books about blue. So the cards that I got was tin, which is connected with Jupiter. It's very malleable. It's talking about expansion. And then I got the Cauda pavonis, or the peacock tail, which having a full vision in a full spectrum, which it's employing creative solutions and to check the color palette. What is the color palette? And everything else, all the other cards after the Cauda pavonis was just blue. So the following card was actually Neptune, or the sense of divinity, mysticism, the seeking. The seeker archetype is activated again with the new dimension, and in a way that I will receive lessons from beyond the earthly plane. Then the following card was the Azure Vault, which is the celestial realm of imagination and expands with, new depth. And the suggestion, study blue, just go with the blue, study the color blue, which, philosophically, metaphorically, has got way more connotations and depth than just the color in itself. And fantastically enough, it was connecting again sky, oceans, and the peacock tail, and the peacock tail was the other card. So that's a big coincidence of actually having the cards in the spread that refer to the other cards which are in the spread themselves. So that's good. And then the card number 10, which was from the Oracle, was the Deep Diver. In swimming into the dark depths to find the mystery that eludes us. Going beyond the surface and work a lot on intuitions. I am on the air water axis, so I am into this green and blues. I am into this deep petroleum teal kind of a color. So one of the visions that I had was actually me swimming in the water, almost like a kelpie, and only with my eyes and the forehead out of the water. And behind my back, there was sort of like a Micronesia kind of a beach, so palm trees and white sand. And in front of me, I was swimming towards some ruins, like Madol kind of ruins, old civilizations and everything. And I was snorkeling and just climbing on these rocks that were surfacing, so while the whole civilization was underwater. And the cry that came out in my active visualization was, how can I get to this place? How can I get from the sofa where I'm sitting now in the northwest of England to Micronesia and swimming among ruins, and as I said, like Nan Madol. And if you don't know about Nan Madol, you should watch, if you have Disney Plus or whatever other gimmicky things you have, Albert Lynn documentary on Nan Madol. Please fall in love with Albert Lynn as much as I do. So this is one thing. But this morning, when I was doing my meditation, pranayama exercises and a little bit of yoga, so during meditation, the instinct was, do movement, the answer will get through the movement, or the message will come to you through movement. So I did some poses, I did some stretches, I did the classical downward dog and the warrior pose and all the other things, and child pose and everything. But then when I stood up in mountain pose, and I looked towards east, and I've noticed how the whole of my altar, which is in front of me, again, images, I'm going to provide images on Instagram of this connected to this post. And they're all blues and greens. I've got my plants, I've got my candles, I've got assess, everything is blues and greens. When I turn towards south, I've got some folders, again, blues and greens right in front of me. Then I turned west. I was turning clockwise. I turned west, and my eye caught the image of a book. And then I turned north, but I turned physically north, but my eyes and my head were still looking at the book that I had on my on my bookshelves, which was facing west. Anyway, on my north, the whole of my main altar is all blues and greens, and there is a painting that I made, which to me represents divinity connection, etc., and it's blues and greens. So I am in the center of this vortex of blues and greens. And then I went to pick up the book, and it's a book that I bought that I never read, because I've read most of his other books, but I never read this one, which is Graham Hancock's Underworld. So here I am with my blues and greens, surrounded by plants, and again, blues and greens. There is nothing else I can say now. And the only thing that I can think of is, well, I'm going to take time to chill out, relax between today and this Friday and next week, when I will meet my supervisor for the first time at Bangor University. I'm really looking forward to go Thursday there. So Friday is going to be like a beautiful other episode. There is also a new blog post on my website, if anyone is interested in going to read that. I'm trying now to write every week once, not putting too much stuff on. So trying to write one blog entry a week, and of course the podcast as a touch and base of how the week went. So if you do have any ideas, any connections between blues and greens, how for me to get to Micronesia and finding some... Is it Micronesia? Non-Madol. Yeah, it's Micronesia. I need to get there, and I don't know, I just hope that my research for my PhD will take me there in convoluted ways, but why not? So I'll leave you with this. We are hitting 16 minutes, and well, you take care, whoever is listening. I'm going to be here next week. Ciao! You've listened to the voice of W9 in honor of the movie Contact, MGT, or Matilde Griubich Tomat. A media researcher, an artist, a writer, and an existential psychotherapist based in the UK. You might want to check my website at matildetomat.com. That is MATILDETOMAT.com, and my Instagram account. This was W9MGT here, over and out.